We always knew we were in danger. I mean, at no time do you not think something's not going to happen. I didn't tell my family, like when I was injured in Iraq. I wasn't telling them, oh, I got blown up in the IED today. Oh, Fred got blown up in the IED today. Or this person. Or guess what? I got hit last week. I got hit again this week. Um, because I was going to protect them from that. We did a lot of missions. We took a lot of IEDs, I believe 38. We were small arms fire approximately 75, 80 times. We did over 390 logistics missions. We were just on the road a lot. The biggest thing was IEDs. We took quite a few. The immediate aftermath, of course, is complete chaos and pandemonium. Get out of the kill zone, see what happens, check on the people. But it was always a amusing time because after it was over and everyone was okay, we all laughed because you had to do something. You couldn't lose it. I guess you could have, but it wouldn't do anything. So did you see your face? When you got out of the truck, you were doing the drunk monkey and walking around and about falling down. And it was, the camaraderie and the trust, I guess, between all of us. It's if something would happen, someone was going to be there. When I was injured, started on a normal combat logistic patrol. It's 2 lanes either way, dirt in the middle. Well, the best place they enjoyed laying IEDs was in the dirt because, they could bury it and then get out of the way. We were coming down to make the turn, and I was looking into the dirt where we were going to turn onto Milton. The blast was directed in the side of my truck. It was about 6 feet to the side of my Humvee. Knocked me out, blew me sideways. I was looking out a window, and then I'm looking at the radios, and the radio in the Humvee is in the middle. And I'm thinking, how'd the radios get over here? And then the truck was jerking, flat tires, wasn't running properly. We got out of the vehicle, and I did the drunk monkey. And that's where I couldn't barely walk, so I took about 3 staggering steps and took a knee, and they were calling on the radio, what's going on and all this. They sent the medic vehicle up to us, and they came out and checked on us to see how we were doing. And there wasn't much to do to check for concussions or things then. It was just a quick, go around, move your arms, legs, everything like that, check your eyes. There were a lot more injuries due to IEDs that we just ignored. That was my 4th direct hit from an IED. I found out later that anything within 50 feet of an explosion, you can have a form of TBI or concussion. So I was up to lucky number 12 with that. In front of me, behind me, from where my elbow was on the door, it bent the plate basically on the doors, and it jammed my arm into the socket, and it knocked a chunk of bone off. Didn't really do much recovery. After the surgery to get the bone out of my shoulder, I was down for 2 months. Was doing physical therapy to get back up with that. Didn't really pay too much attention to me. I was paying more attention to the soldiers. Our way we were trained is mission, men, self. So my mission, and then the men, and then myself. So that's where I put most of my direction and everything. It didn't really affect me professionally as much as personally, because professionally I had my mission. Personally, I just, internalized everything. I wasn't open with what was going on. I did know when I came back that there was problems, PTSD, anger issues, of course the injury, bad knees, bad ankles, had a broken ankle, bad feet, just a lot of physical wear, the mental wear, years in the making and everything. But yeah, I was definitely in the dark, in the hate and anger and rage. And I didn't tell my family, like when I was injured in Iraq. I wasn't telling them, oh, I got blown up in the IED today. Oh, Fred got blown up in the IED today. Or this person. Or guess what? I got hit last week. I got hit again this week. Because I was going to protect them from that.
His last deployment was the hardest for me, just because he'd been injured, and he has a Purple Heart because of that injury. We didn't know that it happened until he got home, and we're sitting at dinner and he told us about it. It was hard for me to go all the ways, just because first to know that it happened and he didn't say anything, and I was so glad he was there, obviously, and he was safe. But to think that I know he was protecting us. He didn't want us to be more scared than we already were, but for me not to be able to support him during that time. I mean, what's going on over there, and of course the media was like insane, but like you don't really know until something like that happens. I'll never forget, we were sitting at our dinner table and he told us about it. So he's like, I have something to tell you guys. And I'm like, man, I've got some new shoes, whatever. Like, I have something to tell you, not like, okay, I got injured and all these thoughts running through my head. And our son, who was 6, was like, he was talking about how his truck had a cooler on it and it had a robot. And our son had said previously, what did you have in the cooler? And he said Coke. And he's like, did the Coke get blown up? And then it kind of like broke the tension, because I was just sitting there and I don't even know if I'd said anything at that point, because I was just, I don't know. I mean, I just felt like someone clobbered me. He could still do things, but he didn't like that it was different for him to deal with things like his temper and things like that. I mean, it's like he didn't have like outbursts, but I mean, I just knew that things made him more quickly angry than before. And then remembering stuff too, just because of the traumatic brain injury. So there's definitely some things like there that still to this day happen, where like he doesn't remember stuff. And he does a lot for a lot of people, but he doesn't ever expect anything in return.
I got a lot of organizations I work with. Warrior Remount Foundation in Colorado. It's an equine assisted learning program. I work with the Veterans Trauma Court in Colorado, part of Craig Hospital and Operation TBI Freedom. I'm part of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, of course. The veterans from Vietnam, who were completely 100% treated differently than we are nowadays. The Korean War veterans, the World War II veterans that we're losing, daily. Awesome people, awesome stories, and working with them, talking to them. I mean, that helps me, and I hope it helps them. It's been awarded approximately, I think, to 1,800,000 military members, and that's retroactive to World War I. There's been like 42 million people that have served in the military, so the percentage that have gotten that award is small. It's the award everyone knows, but no one wants to get. It's a brotherhood and sisterhood that's tighter than the military, if you can picture how that bond would be, because you've been wounded for the country. So I'm honored to have it.